it's Katie and Mike. Say hi, Mike.
Hi, everybody.
This is Driving Home the Movie, and we just went to see The Martian, which is not a Looney Tunes adaptation. I'm severely disappointed.
That was the biggest disappointment. I mean, I was expecting a, classic romp through, trying to get a nice glimpse of Venus, but no.
Nope.
Did not happen.
So yeah, this was a really good movie. And you probably have heard this already, because that's all people are talking about, how it's a really, really solid, entertaining, apparently scientifically fairly correct movie. Hey, Neil deGrasse Tyson said so, and that they only took a few little nitpicks here and there.
I would nitpick a few things, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't care.
Yeah, no, here's the thing, it is very much hard science fiction, which, if you don't know the term, it means where it's fairly close to reality. There are no Wookiees, there's no, random MacGuffin star crystal here to save the galaxy or something. So when you're talking about science fiction, it is squarely in the this is this has to do with human beings, usually astronauts, when it comes to space hard science fiction, and trying to get it at least relatively realistic for the setting and for the story. So it's based on a book, and it is about a Martian mission where, because of a really bad, unforeseen sandstorm, they have to board early. Yeah.
I'll say this. On the scale between pitch black and...
Oh my god. Really? Really?
And...
What?
Interstellar? Let's put this at a firm Apollo 13.
That doesn't make any sense. That is a terrible rating scale. You just made that up. I will say this much. Okay, so all the things that annoyed...
Apollo 13 was totally fiction.
Okay, no, let's...
We never landed on the moon. It was all done in a movie studio.
Anyway. Alright, before we get... Because I have things to compare it to as far as comparing it to Interstellar, but I don't want to do that until we get through. So there was a they have a Mars mission, but they have to abort it early because of the terrible sandstorm. But their botanist gets essentially hit with a piece of their satellite.
Their communication satellite.
Their communication satellite, and he gets knocked aside, and they try in vain to find him before they have to basically get off that rock. And they can't do it, so they think that life support has gone down, so they think he's dead. So they leave, and he wakes up, and essentially, like by some miracle, the piece that jabbed into him that killed the communication to his life system happened to also help keep the air in his suit. So he was able to go back to where they were at, and then...
he was also caked underneath, a few feet of
That
dust.
was, the one time that I looked away from that, because, you see him pull it out, you see him perform surgery on himself.
Yeah, he gets himself back to the habitat.
Oh, God,
and starts performing surgery on himself. That is the one time I had to look away from this picture.
Neither of us do well with, realistic gushing blood and, pooling blood. I don't think Mike likes me to talk about it right now. His fingers are twitching. But neither of us are good with that. So we were both, I could see out of the corner of my eye that he was looking away, and I was kind of half looking away. But so he ends up, surviving the first day and starts doing a log of everything, and he starts to realize, even if I'm able to survive with the oxygen I have and everything, I don't have enough food to last before anybody can get back to me. So I don't know I'm not entirely sure what to do. And essentially he starts sciencing and starts figuring out a plan, because that's what scientists do. What I find really interesting is how much thought and the process went into not only his process of surviving and trying to get communication out, but also once NASA figures out that he's alive, then how they proceed and try to figure things out. There's a lot of, because I know a few scientists, both engineers and also chemists, and like Mike, computer people, and it was interesting to see their thought process, because I know how the people who I know who are science focused have thought processes, and that was very much in as far as, okay, here's the problem, how do we fix it, how do we, you know, what are the steps in order to fix this problem. So that was like one of the most interesting things about this movie for me. Now Mike is a sciencey person to a fault, I would say. How did you like this movie?
This movie was frickin' fantastic. I don't care if the science is any point bad. I don't care anymore.
It was.
I have not seen a better space movie since Apollo 13, and I watched that movie pretty much on a monthly to weekly basis throughout like years 6 through like 15.
It honestly feels like a successor to Apollo 13. To the point where, now granted, I'm not an idiot, but while I'm watching this, and they're really good about having the scientists' names be put on the screen, or even just the different characters, because there's a public relations person for NASA who is played by Kristen Wiig, and her name gets put on there too. So basically anybody of importance in the movie gets named. And in my brain, now granted, I should point out, we drove to Chicago today, and like, we had a really long day, so I am blaming part of this on the fact that my brain is really tired. But I was thinking, like, wait, do I know those people? Like, have I heard of those scientists? And then I had to remember, oh, right, it's from a book. These aren't real people. This is not like Apollo 13, where these were real historical people. Because we never went to fucking Mars.
Also, I think this movie's set in the future, like 2030-ish.
I think it's technically, I don't think they ever set a date.
They never set a date in the movie.
They never set a year. So I think it's supposed to be like, it's either supposed to be like vaguely in the future, or it's supposed to be now if people fucking funded NASA. Like we should fucking be doing. Instead of, okay, I'm gonna get into rants. But, I will say, like, the cast in this is real. Alright, so the writing, I should say, is really solid. I don't know how much of it is like in the book. I've heard mostly the stuff that got taken out of the book was like more science and math. Our friend Charlie, who, if you've seen our I, Frankenstein review, was actually co-reviewed that with us, but he actually said, I never thought I would say I'd want more science and math put into the movie, but I really wish they had done even more, because he had read the book. But yeah, apparently it's a pretty faithful adaptation. So the writing is really solid. The characters are all, there's a big cast. Like, there's a big cast very similarly to Apollo 13, where there are a lot of moving parts as far as the people who are put to the task of saving this guy's life. And what I really liked was that everybody really got to have little moments. I think that Kristen Wiig's character, I don't want to say she's useless, because she really isn't. And if she was, but she also is like one of the few non-scientists in the story. So a lot of it is her just trying to figure out how to manage the PR area of it and do her job and to be able to keep NASA running.
Not just that, but she's got to break the news, you know, after a funeral for an astronaut that, we left him there, he's still alive, oh god. Yeah, but she doesn't get to have as many, like, aha moments as all the other characters. Very true.
But the nice thing is that she's not the only woman in this movie. If she was the only woman and all the other cool characters were played by, like, white guys, this would be a really boring, frustrating movie. But here's the thing that's great about this movie, and I don't know what the characters were like in the book, so I don't know how many of these descriptions were specifically, like, go into detail about which characters are which ethnicity, which characters are which gender. I'm assuming gender was probably more likely to be described in the book. But there's a lot of there's solid female characters. The captain of the mission is a woman, and she, oh gosh, I have to cast this up, and I know her name, Jessica Chastain, who, I forget what, we've seen her in like 1,000 things, I think. We really have, like, I've seen her in a bunch of stuff. I mean, for one, she's going to be in that other movie we're planning to see next week, which is, or this next month, the spooky movie. Crimson Peak, I think she's in. She plays the sister who's probably doing her brother Tom Hiddleston. Like, the book or the trailers highly imply that, but we're getting off topic. Let's see, all filmography. Anyway, no, she's great in this.
Go look her up on IMDb.
I am looking her up on IMDb.
I mean, I'm telling other people.
Oh, okay. Yeah, people, look her up on IMDb.
Let's talk more about movies.
I know.
Matt Damon was funny.
Yeah, no, he was, here's the thing. Matt Damon has been, yeah, she was. Oh my gosh. All right, here's the thing. She also played the daughter in Interstellar. Which is funny because I have comparisons to Interstellar to this movie. Which might not be super fair because Interstellar takes way more liberties.
If you want to hear the big details about what we can say, stay tuned for spoilers.
Yeah, okay, yes. All right, spoilers. Anyway, but no, she was really dang excellent in this. I just love the fact that she was given authority. Like, no one questioned her authority as a woman, which is always something that happens when, like, any female character is a leader. That never came up. It really didn't. All the characters, all the people on the crew, including the two women, they all respected each other, and that felt like it was so great to see. It was so great to see, again, female scientists, both in Mission Control and up on the mission. It was great to see so much diversity. We got to see two black men, playing scientists, talking about science together. Like, how many times do you get to see that in a movie? That's so rare, and it shouldn't be. There was a lot of diversity. There was a lot of, again, I could maybe have used even maybe a few more background female scientists, but you saw them. They were there. And it's so amazing to get to see that, and yeah, it was so good. Like, and it felt effortless. It was just so good. I was so happy about that. Alright, so yeah, let's talk about Matt Damon. Matt Damon's been kind of annoying people in real life lately, and I don't really blame him. He said some really stupid things about women in Hollywood, and also about LGBT performers in Hollywood. It has not been super great. However, he is incredibly likable in this movie. Here's the thing, I'm not a scientist, but his recordings, like the way he talks is exactly the kind of, like, when he gets into sarcasm mode, or like even light sarcasm where he's just making jokes himself, is exactly how I would respond to this. That is exactly the kind of thing that I would do, so I immediately connected to that character.
Well, I blew myself up.
Yeah. Also, like, surprise, I'm still alive. There were a lot of moments, and yeah, it was a very human character. He's not treated like a Superman, which is really damn funny to me, considering his character in Interstellar and how vastly different those two characters are, despite having incredibly similar situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, the comparisons to Interstellar are really odd. But yeah, everything in this movie feels like it was so well crafted. The acting is just great from everyone.
We saw it in 3D. I would say go see it in 3D. I think this might be one of my favorite movies I've ever seen in 3D.
The only time I didn't like it, the sandstorm at the beginning was annoying me because, like, the particles didn't quite. And also, the other thing I don't like is when there are video screens and the video screen is in 3D. And that happened the whole movie, and that was annoying. Because you don't see video screens in 3D.
Yeah, I accept it.
That's okay. I'm okay with it being in 2D. I would not mind seeing it in 2D on the big screen.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing it in 2D either, but I say 3D, go all the way with this one.
So, let me think.
It was a space movie. Space movies, they can look really great in 3D.
What else? I believe it passed the Bechdel test. I believe the two female astronauts do talk to each other about I think they were just talking about mission control in particular, which I see as like an entity and not like, a person. I'm
sure when you're on a spacecraft, you talk about mission control to other people you're with quite often.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, I'm pretty sure that happened, but even if it didn't, it's one of those where, like, here's the thing about the Bechdel test. It is, again, something where you can go like, oh yeah, it's nice to see, but even with this, there's so little... Yes, they are often talking about this one particular man, but it doesn't feel like... It feels like it's very much their story as much as his. Which is not something you see a lot when it's something like this, where it's a man being heroic for a lot. Because the thing is that they are also heroic in their own ways in this movie. They do really bold, in some ways, stupid things, or brash, very brash. There are a few times where I'm like, all right, what I'm learning is that astronauts will do things that are really, really life-threatening. Like blow things up.
If these people were, real astronauts, I don't know how we, keep any of our astronauts alive.
Well, no, that's after things go wrong. Then it's like, all right, screw it. We're gonna try duct taping.
Gonna Iron Man it.
We're gonna Iron Man it. That's a real thing. And there are no less than 3 Marvel, not necessarily MCU, but 3 Marvel actors in this movie, one of which it cuts to right after the Iron Man line, which I found hilarious, because I'm like, I mean, he's right there. He was in because is it Michael Cena? I don't know how to pronounce his name, I'm so sorry. I am the worst at pronouncing names, and anybody who's seen my other videos knows this already.
I believe it's Pina.
Oh, is it? It's not Cena, it's Pina. Oh my god. I apologize to everyone for my mistake. I'm a terrible human being. Yeah, it is. It's not Cena. Ugh. Duh. I went to Chicago today. That's my excuse. Anyway, but yeah, he was just an Ant-Man, and then they mentioned Iron Man. I was just like, oh my god. Also, Bucky Barnes is also in this movie, and it's really hard to not see Bucky Barnes. And then he's like, my best friend just died today.
What happened to Steve?
Yeah, when he's like, let's bring him home, it seriously was like, all I could see was Bucky Barnes talking about Steve Rogers. I'm sorry. I'm such comics trash. I'm so sorry. So, yeah, this was a really good movie, and we don't want to spoil too much. It is very, I will say, it's not super patriotic necessarily. It isn't, like, it doesn't try to be like, yeah, USA is the best, because there are certain countries, I think we could go into spoilers if we want to for this, but there are certain countries that kind of help, and so it didn't feel particularly like, yeah, the U.S. is the best, and we have all the heroes, and we're awesome and stuff, and also NASA should be funded. Actually, no, it highly suggests that
NASA should be funded.
It highly suggests NASA should be funded, but less like because America is the best. That's not really the reason why they said to do it. Who else? You do know who was playing the head of NASA, right?
That is Mr. I know he was on that newscaster show.
Also, he was in Dumb and Dumber.
Yes, that's also what he's in.
Yes. Man, yeah, Jeff Daniels. What a vast, varied career that man has had. Because if you remember, he played that character not that long ago, too. Dear Lord, man. Let's see, Sean Bean is in it, and they managed to make, and I said this on Twitter before we started doing this video, and I will say it again, slow clap for The Martian for making a Council of Elrond Elrond, right? Elrond. Council of Elrond joke with fucking Boromir in the shot while they do it. Yeah. And it took me a second to realize it. And then I was just like, you assholes, you made that joke.
Then they had the gall to not kill him.
Yeah, I know. Oh yeah, Sean Bean lives because he's on Earth. So if that makes you feel any better, yeah, it's once again that and what is it? Jupiter
Ascending.
And Jupiter Ascending both don't kill off Sean Bean.
What's with Sean Bean in space movies and living?
Yeah, what's that about? It also has, like, and this is the other thing I said, and I don't think it counts as a spoiler, but this is the second year in a row where we have a critically acclaimed movie set in space that has, like, a disco 70s, 80s soundtrack, which I find amazing. For some reason, that's becoming a trend, and you know what? I don't mind it.
Let's have 4 of them next year.
Let's have 4 of them. I don't know if this is still I think Fury Road's still gonna be my favorite. I don't see anything really deposing it unless, like, Star Wars somehow knocks it out of the park. But I don't know, like, Fury Road just hits so many of my happy...
This is gonna be a hard year to pick anything.
Which isn't a bad thing. I'm happy about that. I mean, heck, between this, Fury Road, Furious 7's even up there, which I would not have guessed at the beginning of this year. I mean, the Fury 7 is there just for, like, I think that might be, like, a number 5 at the end of the day, but it's still up there, and I was not expecting that, considering I hadn't seen any of the other ones.
Yes, I would agree with that. Mission Impossible was really good.
Yeah, Mission Impossible was another one, and I hadn't seen that one. I hadn't seen movies in that franchise when I watched it either. This has been a good year, which is weird.
It's weird.
It's nice to get out of the September slump, because there were not many good movies out.
Yeah, September was dull.
But that's always that way. It's always that way because school's coming back, so no one wants to put out their movies then.
Because everyone's spending their money trying to get their kids ready for classes.
That too. So who else is in this movie that we forgot? Matt Damon is really good. Jessica Chastain was so good. I was so, like, everything about her character. Here's the thing, and I will say this, but then I want to explain it. Her character was written and handled as if she was a male character. And I don't mean because male characters are inherently more competent. I mean because male characters are allowed to be more competent. They're allowed to just be human beings who do their job and are still brave and still...
She was the computer scientist, right?
No, she was the captain.
Captain?
Yeah, she was a mission captain. And, like, no one questioned her necessarily. Like, there was never a time when anybody questioned her authority, like I said. There was so many... And it's the same thing with, sorry, I'm going to scroll down. With Kate Mara, who was the computer scientist, who apparently is also like an old school gamer and was a complete dork.
Yes, let's go with that.
What?
Let's go with that.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to try and give spoilers here.
Okay. But no, like, they where she played old school games. I don't think that's a spoiler. I'm just saying.
It's not, but I mean,
yeah.
like, I don't want to spoil a joke.
Okay, fine. So, but yeah, it was like both of them are treated like, their characters are treated like a movie would regularly treat side, or, you know, like some of the main characters, that if they were men, which is that they were just good at their jobs and they were doing the right thing. Like, it's just kind of amazing to me that this movie actually lets the female characters not be the useless ones, or not be the ones that are absolutely perfect. They are just good at their jobs. Mm-hmm. It's just so nice to see, and this needs to happen more. So yes, congratulations, you didn't piss me off like that, and you know I look for that stuff.
Donald Glover was pretty fantastic too.
And that was actually, and again, he wasn't the only black scientist, so it's not, oh, the black scientist is the quirky one. It never came to that. It was just, oh yeah, Donald Glover is playing the quirky scientist.
Gets to be a quirky scientist.
Yeah, no, and He also, like, yeah, he has some of the funniest moments in the movie. And it's a relatively small role, but he really does a good job of playing into it. I really enjoyed his role.
He has some of my favorite lines.
He messes with...
And he has the best face reaction.
He messes with the director of NASA, and that's amazing.
I love him, Donald Glover.
I know.
You are the best.
I miss Community. Also,
Can we make a sequel to this movie? Put Donald Glover in space.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think who else, if there's anybody else that we're... I'm so sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the names, and I'm the worst at it, and I apologize. And Chiwetel Ejiofor, and I know I've seen him in like 1,000 things, including Love Actually, but he was also in... Oh gosh, he's been in so many things, and I know it. And he's a really good actor. He was in 12 Years a Slave. Of course I knew that. Oh my gosh, I'm the worst.
It is 1 in the morning. I think you're allowed. He's also in 2012.
All right, but he was also in, 12 Years a Slave, which, I'm just saying, don't knock him because he was in 2012. A lot of good actors were in 2012. But no, he was in Love Actually. He played, What's-Her-Face's husband. Oh yeah, he's also going to be in Doctor Strange, but as the bad guy. Another Marvel person!
Another Marvel person.
Well,
I knew he was a Marvel person. Because he's
what else has he been in? He's been in like 1,000 things. He really has. He's a really good actor. I know I've seen him in a bunch of stuff.
I know, I've seen him in a bunch of stuff.
But he played, remember, he played the guy who gets married at the beginning? Remember? Of Love Actually? We've seen that movie 1,000 times. Alright, I just want to make sure we were both on the same page. He was in Children of Men, which is another great movie.
Serenity.
Oh yeah, he played like the antagonist in Serenity.
Yes, he was great in that movie.
Alright, anyway, but yeah, he was really good in this. And again, it was just, there are so many really strong performances in this that just happened to be because the script allowed everybody to have really strong, really good characters. And I'm really sorry that I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm really the worst.
Chiwetel Ejiofor?
I think you got closer than I did. Mackenzie Davis, who I know I've seen in stuff before, she played like one of the mission control scientists.
Yeah, she was the lady that first realized that he was alive.
Yeah.
At NASA.
Yeah, because she's like, okay, the rover just moved. I feel like that might be a sign. What else has she been in? She was in *Halt and Catch Fire*. She was like one of the main characters in that, which is another movie. It's the one about early Silicon Valley. Mm-hmm. It's a TV show. I've heard it's really good. What else? That's mostly what we've heard her in before. She was good though. Like all the female characters were really strong. Like I said, Kristen Wiig got to do some stuff. Her character had the least amount to do with the plot.
I think it's because she sort of has the role that's it's sort of like
everybody's explaining stuff to her. Yeah, but again, because if she was the only female character, that would have been terrible. But she wasn't, which is good.
But she also gets to be like her doing her job. You get to see through people reacting around the world, because she's got to communicate NASA, hey, we didn't really fuck this up really bad, to the world. And, she's got to communicate the rescue mission. She's got to communicate when things go wrong, everything's still good.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's still employed at the end of the movie by them means that she did her job extremely well.
Yeah, okay, so let's go in, I think we should go into spoilers. But before that...
because we've talked so much about without spoilers, it's so much restraint.
I feel like we're just, at this point, we can just talk about, like, the few jokey things we had to say that were kind of spoilers, and then we can call it a day. It's a good movie! Go see it! It's sciencey, and it's good character work, and they're a diverse cast, and they're all done really well, and Jessica Chastain is awesome in it.
Star Wars is going to have a hard time beating this movie for me right now.
Alright, so with that, spoilers. You go first, hon. You had spoilers to say. I don't know. He lives at the end, alright? That's a spoiler. Everybody lives. Literally no one dies in this movie.
Well, you know, some people possibly died.
On the Earth, during the course of this movie, somebody probably died. But
no people die in space.
Named characters died in this movie.
Possibly some background scientists. Possibly
you know
some
what?
of those scientists have babies too that we never got to see.
Okay, fine. The other thing I'll say about this, and this doesn't really count as a spoiler, but I was really impressed by how they were very accurate on how they showed his body changing, because as his rations got worse and worse, because while he does start farming on the fucking moon, which you kind of see
Mars.
God damn it. I went to Chicago. I'm so tired. I had been up since like 7, and we drove a total of like, what, probably 7 hours at this point? Besides driving like to the movie. I mean, just driving to Chicago and then driving back. I am exhausted. That is my excuse for not remembering what the setting of this movie is.
The Martian.
The Mars. On Mars. Shut up. Oh my god, I hate you so much. Okay. So, no, he is able to grow stuff on Mars using a really cool system. And like, you knew where he was going as soon as he like flushed the toilet. I knew exactly where he was going with his idea, you know? Funny that he does have inspiration on the toilet, by the way. But something goes wrong and his crops die.
We're in spoilers. We can talk about this.
I know. I'm just saying something goes wrong because like shit goes wrong. I don't want to have to explain the science of it. Don't explain the science of it. We don't have time for this. I'm tired. So.
But he gets a lot of crops out of it. He farms for like, I think it was like about 50 days, maybe?
Yeah, and he's able to salvage some of that. But most of it gets sucked out. So, what was I talking about? Why did I bring this up?
I don't know.
Oh my god, no, I had a point. I had a point with, so he has to start rationing. And,
you were talking about the effects on his body.
Yeah, so he has to start rationing, and, like, it ends up being, like, a little piece of bread and a little bit of potato a day, basically.
Also, I think that was supposed to be some kind of protein loaf, by the way. But,
okay.
He, like, some kind of meatloaf or something.
But yeah, by the end of the movie, he is very, very thin, compared to where he was very muscular
and not just
at the beginning.
that, but Mars has, like, I don't know the exact numbers, but it has less gravity than Earth, so he's not really exercising very well on the Martian surface.
So he's losing a lot of muscle mass. But it is you really get the sense when they do a good time jump.
I gotta believe a lot of it is special effects too.
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely. I think it is definitely a lot of it is.
I don't think Matt Damon lost 50 pounds. And
definitely
then
not.
another 50 pounds.
But the point is that they did a really good job of, like, when you not just from that first time when you see him like having lost so much, because they do a good 7-month cut between one part of the movie to like towards the end. But also then, like, even after that first initial one, when you see his arms.
Yeah.
Like, it happens a few times, and you really get the sense of, like, holy crap, this character really has lost a lot of weight, and it gives a real sense. That's the thing, it really gives nothing that he does in this movie feels unearned. Like, even all the amazing stuff, it feels like something that he actually had to do. And a lot of that comes into how his body, like, you see the wear of and the strain of this situation, of like his year. I think it was like a good year and a half. They said.
He spends like nearly 2 years on Mars.
Yeah.
because I think he gets to like 500 some, so 365. And I don't know if they were actually doing Martian days or if it was Earth days.
I think the crew said that they would have spent like over 500 days. I think they mean 500 Earth days.
Okay.
On Mars, because like when they're talking to their families are kind of pissed about like you're telling me you're adding.
I actually don't know how much of a difference there is between a Martian day
I don't
and
know
Earth
either.
Day.
I'm not 100% sure either, but okay. I think
It's too late.
I know, I'm so tired.
I probably heard this before.
Yeah.
I feel like it's something I used to know.
Yeah. So it was really good. I'm trying to think. Oh, so this is actually a spoiler. There is a small, like the smallest of romances that it only really comes into play in the credits, the ending credits.
And if you don't want to spoil anyone to this, just say it's between Bucky Barnes and Sue Storm.
Yes, Jessica Alba shows up at the very end of the movie. No, if you've forgotten, there was a Fantastic Four movie that came out this year, and despite the fact that the cast looked absolutely great in it and probably could have been wonderful, it bombed because the script sucked. But Kate Mara was in it as Sue Storm, and as you recall, Sebastian Stan is in this, and he was Bucky Barnes and is Bucky Barnes in the future movies, and they are comrades on this. You know, they are, crew members on this. And when Sebastian Stan's part he has to do a specific part in this rescue mission. Yeah. And so Kate Mara goes up to him and, like, basically, surprise, they have to, part of the plan that they finagle has to do with blowing up part of their ship. And so they've created a bomb because there's a chemist on board. And so Kate Mara's character ends up handing Sebastian Stan's character the bomb, and she kind of she doesn't kiss him, but she kisses his helmet. And she says, like, don't tell anybody I did that. And then, that's really mostly their interaction. I think they might have had, like, a talk or two. I can't remember if they had any actual...
I can't remember any actual communication before that.
But then in the ending credits, you see that they had eventually gotten together and
have a kid.
And yeah, like basically they had just had a kid when the next
mission goes off.
Yeah, which is like great timing, by the way. Thanks for doing that right for the credits, guys. So my response
that is like impeccable timing.
That is super good timing.
Although if you have an induced pregnancy, you can maybe try and work it out that way.
I feel like that character seemed to me the kind of person who would never induce her own pregnancy willy-nilly. I don't, just an idea. But so largely what happened was after we were walking out of the theater, while we were walking out of the theater, I had said this, and I stand by it, that the 5 people who are Sue Storm and Bucky Barnes shippers will be incredibly happy about this, because they'll be able to imagine those 2 actors as their Marvel characters, having a baby and being happy together.
I'm sure it'll be gift on Tumblr forever.
Yes. From those 5 people out in the world, congratulations, your ship is not really canon, but sort of in a weird alternate universe where this was actually about Sue Storm and Bucky Barnes.
Well, the GIF, you got all those, different GIF things where they take other movies and they apply it to other movies.
Yeah.
So
there has to be a Tumblr out there for Sue Storm and Bucky Barnes shippers. There has to be, you guys.
If not, someone watching this movie should make one.
To be fair, literally, that Tumblr could just be literally anyone but reedrichards.tumblr.com. Sorry, I'm so mean. So, but I just found that really enjoyable, and I can't think of anything else because my brain is mush.
Richard, what's more important than your child?
Science? Oh man, that's for all you Venture Brothers fans. We have until January, right?
Is it really January? I thought it was February.
We have until
February.
I can't remember dates. I can't even remember what planet this movie was on. I'm that tired. So, with that, I'm sure there's like 1,000 things. I'll make jokes on Twitter about the rest of it.
Do you want to talk about your parallels between this and...
Shit, I do! Okay, so Interstellar and The Martian have a lot of things in common, including a man trying to get home, and a female scientist doing math to save the day. Jessica Chastain is in there. Matt Damon gets stuck on another
planet,
on another space. I think he was just on a station. Yeah, rock, whatever. I don't care. Things blow up. Other thing, like spacesuits. There are also spacesuits in there, but there's a lot of parallels. The thing is that this movie is better because of all of that forced, like, sentimentalness with the daughter, and, like, it just felt so...
This movie is very hopeful and inspirational, where Interstellar
was like saccharine.
Yeah.
And it really, none of the female characters, like the ones that, like, you see the daughters and the families of a couple of the crew members, but it's never really focused on, so it doesn't feel like they were trying to play up the sentimentality of them being of these two crewmen being family men. It never felt like that, which I appreciated. It's a better use of Jessica Chastain, to be honest. And yeah, there's a lot. It does so many things similarly, but in a way that feels more emotionally genuine, which I appreciated. And also a way better use of female characters and more diversity. And it doesn't rely on, like, really annoying father-daughter tropes that could be used sometimes well, but weren't really used well in Interstellar. All of the relationships between the people who were, like, all the crewmates didn't feel forced, or didn't feel like they were trying to push the sentimentality, but they still felt very strong, simply because you could understand why they felt that way. They already cared about each other, they were already close. But it never felt like they were getting into trying... It never felt like Oscar bait, I guess. If I'm gonna... It never felt like they were trying to go for sentimental over actual emotional moments.
Yeah, you never had that solo piano playing over a vast landscape.
Like, for the most part, they did a really good job of not pulling a lot of the tropey kind of things that would go with this kind of movie. And like I said, I just feel like this is a much more successful movie than Interstellar because of it.
Yeah.
So with that, gosh, I'm tired. But this was a good movie, and I'm glad we went to it. And I would highly suggest that you guys go see it too. Even with the spoilers that we gave, because I don't think we gave that many. We didn't break down all the different ways that they solve the problems, which I think is some of the most interesting parts of this movie. Like, oh, the other thing I'll say, and I meant to say this before the trailer, but so we have a friend. She's more like she's more of my friend, but Mike knows her too. Her name's Kristen, and if you follow me on Twitter, she's at StardustKR7, and she is a chemist, and she's very much into science. She's one of the more sciencey people I know. And throughout this movie, one of the things I thought was, my God, Kristen would love this movie. Like, I just kept thinking about how much she would love it. The only thing that would have made it better is if the chemist was also a woman, because she loves when there are female chemists in movies. But I kept thinking about that like, my gosh, she's gonna really love this movie. So anybody who's into science, oh my gosh, you're gonna like it. I think that's it. I'm ready to go to sleep. Are you ready to go to sleep?
No, I have to edit and put this online.
All right. But then you get to go to sleep.
Eventually.
Eventually
sleep.
To be fair, though, you're already on this planet, so you don't have to worry about getting on the planet.
Oh my God,
Like,
you're right.
you suddenly, all of our problems are so much easier because we're on Earth.
Yeah.
So, like, that perspective, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Things are easy. I will say, this movie was fantastic.
We might go to see this again before it leaves theaters.
I want to go see it tomorrow.
I might try to drag my parents to see this. I feel like they would like... we talked about this before. They really liked Apollo 13, and they like, you know, man overcomes obstacles sorts of movies. I really feel like they would really like this movie. Oh my gosh, though, my mom would not like some of the spinning.
We can't take them to 3D for this.
No, we can't, or IMAX. Okay, anyway, I gotta go to sleep. So, go see this movie! Katie and Mike. Well, no, let me do the outro. Let me just go to sleep. Unless, say one more thing and then we're done.
One more thing? That was it, one more thing. Let's go. Fine, let's go.
No, say what you want to say.
I don't even know. I would blather on about that.
Okay, outro. Ready? Katie and Mike. JustPlayingSomething.com, and we'll see you later.